Welcome to the RC Stories Garage. Today we are talking about getting Traxxas Pro Scale Lighting to work with a Hobbywing Fusion motor/ESC combo. I have three TRX4s, and while their electronics may not be the best in class, Traxxas does a good job of making all the electronics work together. As the saying goes, the sum of the whole is greater than the parts. This is true of the Pro Scale lighting system. The lights themselves are great, the controller is cool, but pair it with a TQI receiver and transmitter with the Bluetooth module, and you get app control and complete customization. The stock brushed motor in my TRX4 has had a good run, but it needs to be replaced. I plan to just drop in another cheap Titan 21-turn brushed motor, but since this is my all-weather vehicle, I figured it might be cheaper in the long run to upgrade to a sealed Hobbywing Fusion Pro motor/ESC combo. I'm also going to install 2-speed shifting and lockable diffs. I don't want to lose any Pro Scale lighting functionality, particularly the reverse lights. Normally, with a brushed motor, there is a motor sensor wire that plugs into the lighting module so that it knows if you're driving forward or in reverse. Of course, the Fusion motor doesn't have anywhere to plug in this sensor wire. However, this isn't completely a problem. The brake and reverse lights can still work without the motor sensor wire. I'm not the first to figure this out. JP's Hobbies noted this in a video a year ago. But I thought I would expand on the topic, as there is a caveat and a workaround that I would like to share. There are several wiring options with the Pro Scale lighting in a TRX4. If you have a TQI receiver, then you can connect the light module to the receiver with the provided Maxx cable. The Maxx cable tells the light module when to turn on and relays the programming options to and from the app via the Bluetooth module. The Maxx cable also relays throttle information to the light module. This way, the light module knows if the throttle trigger is being pulled or pushed. This works great if you have your ESC in forward, brake, reverse mode, modes 1 to 4 on the stock XL5 HV ESC, but it doesn't work so good if you have your ESC set to forward, reverse mode, mode 5 crawl mode on the XL5 HV. You can test this by unplugging the motor sensor wire. In forward, brake, reverse mode, if you pull the throttle, the truck drives forward. If you push the throttle in the brake direction, the truck stops and the brake lights activate. If you push the throttle a second time, the truck drives backwards and the reverse lights activate. Let's set the ESC to crawl mode. Most drivers would use this mode for rock crawling. In this mode, you get forward throttle, strong drag brake, hill hold, and instant reverse. If you have your Hobbywing Fusion's RPM throttle matching turned on, then you are in forward reverse mode. With the motor sensor wire still unplugged, the lighting module doesn't actually know which direction the motor is turning. It also doesn't know which mode the ESC is in. It assumes we are still in forward, brake, reverse mode. If I pull the throttle, the truck drives forward. If I push the throttle, the truck drives backwards, but the light module activates the brake lights. If I push the throttle a second time, now the reverse lights activate. Not great, but there is a fix. You need the Bluetooth transmitter module and the Traxxas Link App connected. In the app, on the lights dashboard, tap Edit to get to the advanced settings. scroll down to the reverse lights and change the action from reverse to brake. Tap back to save the settings. Now the reverse lights will come on as soon as you push the throttle in the reverse direction. Seems a bit buggy though, because the reverse lights easily get out of sync with the actual throttle direction. If you drive forward and backwards consistently, it works okay. But if you drive backwards, stop, and then drive backwards again, weird things happen. The reverse lights might turn on when you start driving forward, though they seem to turn off after a few seconds. Still, better than nothing. Maybe it's just a bug that can be fixed in a firmware update. So, it is possible to have brake and reverse lights with Pro Scale Lighting if you run a brushless combo ESC, with some caveats. There is often a question of how to power the lighting module if you are not using the stock Traxxas ESC. The simplest method is to solder a JST connector onto your battery wire, or use a pass-through battery connector that has a JST wire tap. You can get JST pigtails from Amazon. Some people are worried that the battery voltage might be too much for the lighting module, but this is not a problem if you are using 2S or 3S. The JST power cable coming out of the stock XL5HV ESC is simply connected to the power cables inside the ESC anyway. The stock connector is not a regulated supply of any kind. Right now I have the lighting module, the Traxxas Winch, and the Traxxas BEC all running off the JST plug. It's a bit of a mess of JST splitters. I have the BEC because I am running the red high torque Traxxas Servo, which is quite good and really a must when running tracks. The XL5HV BEC is only 1 amp, but the Traxxas BEC that fits in the receiver box increases that to 3 amps. The Hobbywing Fusion Pro has a 6 amp BEC, making the Traxxas BEC redundant. Well, that's it for today. I better get to work on these upgrades. With any luck, we will get a dump of snow and I will be able to get some nice video of the sport, snow wheeling, before the holidays. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video useful. Have fun and stay warm.